adds a whole lot to the curb appeal of your house. Now, in this case, we really needed new garage doors. As a matter of fact, let me show you what it looked like before. You can see this door is is in pretty bad shape. A lot of damage to it. It looks like it could almost fall in, and it really just looked bad. So we thought, let's put on some new doors, and it is something you can do. It's a do-it-yourself project. I know you're thinking, Dave, that's an awful lot of work, but it's very simple. And to tell us just how simple, Steve Krosick from Stanley Door System is here.
Dave.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is a do-it-yourself project.
This is a project the average do-it-yourselfer can do in 6 to 8 hours.
So, a weekend project,
Sure.
one or 2 days. Great. What's the first step?
Well, I've already removed the old door from the hole, and what we're going to do next is put the hardware on the new sections, stack them up.
All right, let's get to it.
Great.
Now, Steve, let me get this straight. We're going to put the hardware on, and then we're actually going to put the panels in place before we put the track on.
Right. We'll take each section, 1 through 4. This is the bottom section. Put the hardware on them, and then stack them up in the hole.
Okay. So how are they going to stay in the hole without the track?
Temporarily, we'll toenail them in place into the jambs, and then once the entire door is put together, we'll snap the track on and connect it permanently.
So then we don't actually have to measure or do any of that when we put the track on?
Correct.
Great. What is this particular door made of?
This door is a double-sided steel insulated model. It's 26-gauge steel front and back pre-painted, and it's got an insulating polystyrene core.
Okay, and I guess you can get doors in wood and steel and a lot of... Does this have any advantages?
It's got advantages in that it reduces some sound transmission and also some temperature extremes, but doors are available in wood and steel, with steel by far the most popular because it's maintenance-free.
Now, as far as the hardware itself goes, at first it looks kind of complicated, but it's really not, is it?
It's pretty straightforward. What we have here is the back of the bottom section. As you can see, all the holes are pre-punched.
Okay. And that makes it, I guess, easier. No measuring, no pre-drilling or any of that.
Right. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Now, what particular piece of hardware is this? What is it going to do?
This is the bottom lift bracket. What it's going to do is hold the bottom roller, and it's also where we attach the lift cable to the door.
Okay. Now, this piece up here is the hinge, right?
Right. It's the first hinge in succession, and the hinges also are numbered 1 through 3, so that you, again, know which ones go where.
Couldn't be easier. It's going to be like painting by numbers.
It's pretty simple.
Okay. So then once we get all these done, work your way down and up each section of doors, then we're going to set them all in place, right?
Right. We'll take each section, attach the hardware, and stack them up in the hole.
All right, let's get to it.
Great.
Okay, we're just lifting the last of the 4 panels in place, and this is running along pretty quickly. Now, you got it down there?
Yeah.
Now, when you're talking about toenailing, you're not actually saying nail through the door.
Right. What we're going to do is nail into the jamb and just bend the nail over to hold the section in place.
Okay, Steve, we got all the doors in place. We got them toenailed. What do we do now before we can actually put the track in?
What we're going to do is connect the last of the hinges.
Which we've been doing all along.
Correct. Then we'll put the rollers into the hinges and connect the track.
All right, let's get to it.
Great.
Now, we've already installed one section of the track on one side, and it's really pretty simple. There's 2 pieces of track. A horizontal goes up top, and then there's a vertical, and they meet right here. Now you can see the wheels fit right into the track, and of course we didn't have to measure or anything. We just put the track where the wheels were, and that's how it lined up. Now there's also a little framing piece right here, a bracket, and on that bracket is a pulley. Now this pulley is going to be used when we put our cable on. It's going to loop over the pulley and go back to a spring. Now that acts as a support, so when you lift the door and lower it, you're not actually lifting the entire weight of the door. The spring helps you out there. Now, we did save one side for you, and Steve's over there working on it. Let's see how he's doing. Steve, you're working so hard, I'm breaking a little sweat here.
Sure.
Well, what's the first step in installing the track?
What I've done is I've taken the piece of vertical track, and I've already attached the track brackets to it.
Which is just a couple of nuts and bolts.
Right. Now I'm going to take the piece of track and snap it over the rollers that are already in place.
All right. That's, again, it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse, but it really does make sense because now we're not even having to measure or mark anything. The rollers tell us right where to put the track.
Right. What I've got here now is when we put this in place, this piece of trim was in the way. So what I've done is cut it away so that we can attach the track bracket to a good solid wood jamb.
Okay, always important, I guess. Otherwise, you could actually have the door pull away from the wall, and we don't want that.
Right.
Okay, what's next?
What I'm going to do is temporarily nail them in place, drill some pilot holes, and put in some lag bolts.
All right.
Great, thanks.
Now, Steve, I noticed that you're connecting the horizontal track to the existing mounting bracket. That's the one we had up with the old track.
Right.
Is that okay to do?
Right, we've taken a look at the existing mounting. It's still solid and it's firmly mounted to the ceiling and it's right where we need it.
So that's all you really need to check.
Right, we can go ahead and use it.
Now, we also had existing track here because we're replacing a door.
Right.
Why can't we just use that?
We wanted to replace the old track because it could have been bent. Chances are it was rusty, maybe a little bit out of alignment. So we want to use all new material on the door.
So you might as well, as long as you're doing it.
Sure.
Okay. Now, once that's done, let's take a look at this end here. Now, what is this piece right here?
That's a flag bracket, and what that does is connects the horizontal to the vertical, lines them up straight, and connects them firmly to the wall.
And that just screws into the wall the same way we did the rest of?
Right.
Okay. So after that, what do we need to do?
What we're going to do is line the track up to make sure that the rollers run nice and smooth, bolt everything down, and then put the springs on the door.
Okay, so let's get that done and we can get on to the fun part, the springs and the pulleys.
Great.
Okay, well, we've got everything ready to connect the springs. And one word of caution, you're going to need some help because you have to have the door raised in order to put the springs on or get them sprung, as they say. That's a technical term. So you want to have some help with that because it's very heavy. You also want to make sure that you clamp the door in place to hold it while you're working on the spring. So, Steve, would you take me through the rest of the steps here?
Sure. What we'll do from here is we've already attached the lift cable to the bottom section.
Okay.
We'll take that, we'll run it over the pulley and then move back. We connect the cable to the spring, and the spring's already hanging. I've got a pulley connected to it using the sheave that's included in the hardware kit, and I've connected it to our bracket with an S-hook.
Okay, so that's pretty simple to do.
Right.
Then what happens?
From here, there's a clip that goes on the front of the cable that attracts or connects up to the front of the track.
So I guess the key here is you want to get it fairly taut, and then when we let the door down, it'll put the tension on it, so now you can raise and lower the door. All right, well, let's get these on and have the big test. See if it
Sounds
works.
good.
Seems to work great. Now, I guess that spring stretched out like that means the spring is sprung.
Correct.
Okay, so hopefully that's going to help us when we go to open the door, which is the true test. Let's
Give it a
try it
try.
out. Now, I would say smooth as silk, Steve. Works
Not bad,
great.
not bad.
Now, is there anything else that we're going to need to look for before we finish up here?
The last thing I'm going to do is put a safety restraint cable on the spring, and that's just in the eventuality that the spring breaks.
So it
holds all
runs
the pieces
inside the
together.
spring, and that
Right.
comes with the door.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I've got a garage door opener in here that I'm going to need to reconnect. Is there any problem doing that?
All you have to do is check the warnings that the garage door manufacturer might have, and as long as it's okay with them, it's fine with me.
Okay. Well, Steve, thanks so much for your help.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Guess that about closes out this segment, doesn't it?